Tonight, we're in the midst of a historic political crisis. It feels like America is more divided than ever, and that chasm just gets bigger every day. Now, look, in all the chaos, I know some Democrats are feeling some relief, saying, finally, Trump might get impeached for all his bad behavior. They're real happy about it. But I'm actually sad and sick about the whole thing and worried about the whole mess. Honestly, America, we are now in a lose-lose scenario. Look, Democrats obviously can't do nothing. I mean, Trump can't just keep dragging in foreign powers into our next election with no consequences at all. For instance, just this week, Trump stood on the White House lawn in front of God and everybody and said this.
China should start an investigation into the Bidens. So I would say that President Zelensky, if it were me, I would recommend that they start an investigation into the Bidens.
That's not a whistleblower. That's not a transcript. That's not a text message. That's Trump himself inviting two foreign powers to investigate his political rival. That is so bad. I mean, what, Democrats now have to run against Trump and a bunch of foreign governments at the same time? Look, if Obama had tried that stunt, he'd be locked up in Guantanamo right now. So look, something's got to give. But on the other hand, listen to me now, impeachment in the House is not going to solve the real problem. It's not going to keep us safe from foreign interference in our election because the Republicans still control the Senate. And chances are they're never going to kick Trump out. So impeachment or no impeachment, Trump will still likely be president until at least 2021. And before, during, and after any impeachment, Trump apparently can just keep on trying to get help from overseas. This is a mess, and impeachment's not going to solve it. Now, look, I know people are tired of hearing me talk about common ground. They don't want to hear about it. Thank you, Twitter. I get it. I know. But look, somebody has got to point out that the vast majority of Americans in both parties still want us to have a fair election without foreign intervention. That is still common ground. So our strongest patriots in both parties should come together to build a wall around our elections, okay? Let's get creative. Put up a bipartisan bill, making it mandatory for campaigns to report overtures from foreign agents. Make it a crime to solicit or accept foreign assistance in a U.S. election. Include an independent prosecutor to enforce these new rules, and then tell Trump, look, sign this bill and we won't impeach you. But going forward, anybody who breaks these rules is going to jail. See? Problem solved. We get a fair election and let the best candidate win. Now, that might sound like a daydream, I know, but the alternatives sound like a nightmare to me. And I'm just getting desperate.
Well, now I think I've seen it all. Robert Francis O'Rourke nearly cries in his latest desperate attempt to stay relevant. Before I show you this clip, if you're new here, tap that red button down below to subscribe and then hit the notification bell so you're the first to know when news breaks. And if you're an existing subscriber, double check your subscription and that you have your notifications enabled because I don't want you to miss out on the news and opinion that you have requested. Let's jump into the story from Breitbart News. They report that running a presidential campaign is a daunting and physically exhausting endeavor. We've already seen exploding eyes, runaway teeth, and it's only October of 2019, but one candidate cleared his schedule of campaign events in Mexico, as well as any other platforms by which to kick out Breitbart reporters in order to give himself and perhaps his anemic poll numbers a much-needed shot in the arm. Literally. Watch. Oh my goodness.
Take a deep breath. No crying. Take a deep breath.
That's it. Oh my God. What is up with this guy?
Take a deep breath. No crying. Take a deep breath.
Take a deep breath, baby. It's just gonna pinch. Doc McStuffins is here for you.
Welcome to a special hour of Unfiltered Road to Impeachment. Here's tonight's headline. Call me, maybe. It is week 2 of the Democrats' impeachment inquiry, and it was yet again an eventful one. The very latest, I mean, like if you went to bed early last night, you might have missed it. A second official who was alarmed by President Trump's dealings with Ukraine is deciding whether to file his own whistleblower complaint and testify before Congress. Also breaking, House Democrats subpoena the White House for more documents and communications tied to Trump's call with Ukraine, President Zelensky, and withholding aid to Ukraine. And of course, there are the texts that House Intel Republican Will Hurd calls damning. They were just released, showing just how concerned some diplomats were with the president's position in Ukraine. Said one diplomat to the other, "Are we now saying that security assistance and White House meeting are conditioned on investigations?" To which the other responds, "Call me." Yeah, I've been on the receiving end of one of those before when I'm texting with a source and they respond, "Call me." It means whatever they're about to say is not something they want in print. Of course, when I text "call me" to my husband, it usually means he's in trouble. But enough about me. This isn't about me. This is about the president. You might not know it to listen to him, though, because he's on a warpath to blame and attack everybody else. The fake news media, Mitt Romney, whom he called a pompous ass on Twitter this morning, shifty Adam Schiff. But get used to it, folks. This is in Trump's DNA. Trump's got a very clear pattern when he's under fire. Deny, normalize, and attack. DNA. Check it out. First, he denied pressuring Ukraine to investigate the Bidens, just like he denied Russia's election interference, just like he denied paying Stormy Daniels hush money, just like he denied saying he'd make Mexico pay for the wall, denied saying things he definitely said on camera. He said he didn't pressure Ukraine to investigate the Bidens, but that he could. But then the Ukraine call transcript came out showing he did just that. So Trump moved to the normalize phase. He said the call was perfect. He urged Ukraine again to investigate the Bidens, doing the very thing he's being accused of and could possibly be impeached over. He went even further, telling China, a communist dictatorship, to hop on board the corruption train and then saying it in broad daylight. "I have an absolute right, perhaps even a duty, to investigate or have investigated corruption. And that would include asking or suggesting other countries to help us out." Now, here's a little thing to listen for as well. Trump is fond of saying he has the absolute right to do whatever he wants, as if saying it makes it so. In January, after Congress refused to fund his border wall, "I have the absolute right to do a national emergency if I want." Last June, "I have the absolute right to pardon myself." December 2017, "I have the absolute right to do what I want to do with the Justice Department." May of 2017, after he shared classified information with Russian officials, "I have the absolute right to share intelligence with Russia." The more he says it, the more he hopes you end up thinking, yeah, why not? Well, now he is onto the attack stage. Quick glance at his crazy Twitter feed today. Retweeting a Pinocchio clip calling Adam Schiff Lion Shifty Schiff. Impeachment Romney. The media is fixed and corrupt. That's just a sampling, folks. Here's the deal. Trump does this DNA dance because it often has the desired effect. Wearing us down with deflections and distractions, gaslighting the media and the American public, telling you to your face the sky is green. Well, this one's actually really, really simple. He told at least one foreign government to investigate his political rival. He made a meeting at the White House contingent upon that investigation. And then with